Hi, I'm back. I survived the rage, the anger. Night, night, biscuit. Have a good night. Sorry that I'm streaming so late. I'm sorry. My internet hates me. What a sleep. Post ponies. Post ponies. Post all the pony. The 𝕬𝕤𝕤𝕚. Stop pinging me. Get pinged, retard. Get pinged. Get pinged. Get pinged, retard. Get pinged. We're watching. Is it the right one? It's a right, boss. I'm sorry. I bet the Reds did this. Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Alright, let's continue. Let's continue.
I think you're trying to tell us something.
Oh,
in
yes.
This country.
I'm trying to tell you that it has to be stopped unless you want to end
I'm
up
trying
in,
to
in
tell you.
Gulag system and enjoy all the advantages
America is
of
the next
socialist
objective.
equality. Working for free, catching fleas on your body, sleeping on the planks of plywood in Alaska this time, I guess. That's where Americans will belong, unless they will wake up, of course, and force their government to stop aiding Soviet fascism.
Alright, we were watching this guy who is an ex-KGB member, and also his family was part of the party. He was very well connected back in the day. He is streaming despite being sick when she should rest. I'm feeling a little bit better now. Now that the anger has fixed me. The anger has fixed me. I can't believe Bibi killed herself. 2 shots to the back of the head. Crazy. Actually, I didn't die. I promise I didn't die. I didn't get replaced. I promised. I'm still Bibi. I'm still Bibi. I'm not Bibi. Bibi Beach. Busoyimanovic. I promise I am not Bibi Busoyimanovic. What's with the hat? I'm technically still sick, so I'm technically still recovering from the sickness. I really it was good. The fact that at least the fucking you got pinged a bunch, so that means that you're here now. Are you ready to get yourself moralized? Are you ready to get moralized? I'm so triple ping. What is wrong with the pigs today? With .22s at that. Twitch is pulling double duty for subversion and demoralization. Oh my god. Okay, let's watch this together.
You told us a moment ago why you left the system. I'd like to hear the details of how you did it. It must have been a very dangerous thing.
It was not so dangerous, it was crazy. First of all, because defecting in India is virtually impossible.
Defecting?
Thanks to very strong pressure from the Soviet government.
Excuse me, you were in India. On assignment at that time.
Yes, I was working for
Imagine
the
how bad Russia back then had to be that this guy wanted to live in India. He wanted to live, breathe, and progress in India because it had way much opportunities than Russia back in the day. The jokes write themselves sometimes.
New Delhi as a press officer.
New Delhi.
And defecting for a Soviet diplomat is next to impossible. It's a suicide, as I said.
Isn't it treason?
A great friend Indira Gandhi pushed a law through parliament which says, and I quote, "No defector from any country has a right of political asylum in any embassy on the territory of Indian Republic," which is a masterpiece of hypocrisy. No other defector but the Soviet one
He did.
political asylum.
Tried to escape beyond the...
So knowing that perfectly well, I planned a craziest possible way to defect. I studied counterculture in India. There were thousands of young American boys and girls with no shoes, long hair, smoking hash and marijuana, studying sometimes...
The hippies. American
Indian
hippies from the
philosophy, sometimes simply
60s.
pretending that they studied. And they greatly annoyed Indian police, and they were laughing stock of Indians because obviously they were good-for-nothing students.
Isn't that where Hare Krishna comes from as well?
Where they congregate, what routes they travel, what language they speak, what do they smoke. And one day I simply joined
I didn't die, I'm alive.
to avoid detection of Indian police. I was dressed as a typical hippie with blue jeans, long kameez shirts with all kind of nice decorations like
With the
these,
tie-dye.
long hairs. I bought a wig because for several weeks I had to turn myself from a conservative Soviet diplomat into a very progressive American hippie. And that was
I think
the
you could
only way
pass.
that I could
Right?
avoid detection.
Give him a wig, a toupee.
It was very interesting experience, but it was necessary because
Judy is a
from
gold
my
man.
own
If you watch
knowledge
this,
as a
cute.
member of Soviet embassy staff,
Impy so
I knew
based.
that there were many cases when Soviet defectors were betrayed by Indian police.
You know, or your
And also
SSR,
some Western
India. He
embassies
escaped through India.
played a very dirty role in betraying the Soviet defectors. According to our information, they were some, I wouldn't call them double
The way
agents,
we're
but
doing
simply
Judy tonight,
a
we're
model
watching Judy
people
tonight, chat.
working for this for the United States embassy, and confining in people like this would be a suicide. So I had to be extremely careful. I could not trust anyone.
Only the Americans. You can trust the
And that was
Americans.
That was the reason
Even
for
if
such a
they're
crazy-
hippies, I think that you can trust the Americans. Okay, that is the type of. This is the type of a stereotype that I have of Americans. Always, all through my life, that they're too nice. That if you listen, I would tell a kid that if he's lost in a Walmart where there's one representative of each person, it's each country in the world, I would tell them to search for the American. I would tell them to search for the American and not the Canadian, because I would be kind of scared of the Canadian. The best Judy. Usually I hate Judy, but I can forgive this. Go to Texas. We are very nice and we carry guns. Hell yeah. I like Texas. I like to go out visit at least once. But I don't know anybody in Texas that could receive me in their house without killing me or potentially dismembering me and then putting my corpse in the river. You know? Oh, shush. Why not tell him to search for an employee instead? What are the Canadians would speak Hindi? Yeah, I'm a little scared about that. An employee instead, there's no employees. Okay, where would the employees be from? If it's Walmart, obviously America.
way to defect.
Well, had you been caught in the act of trying to get out, what would have happened to you?
Oh, most likely I would end up in concentration camp.
Jesus Christ.
Or, depending on the situation and on the whim of some bureaucrat in KGB, maybe even executed. This is normal practice. Quietly, of course, not publicly. But that would be the end of my defection. Of
So imagine how many people died that
Well,
way.
when did you finally make it to the United States?
In 1970, after about 6 months of debriefing in Athens by the CIA, and I presume FBI too, they let me go first to Germany, then to Canada. That was my decision. I had to change my identity to protect my family and my friends in USSR. And also I was a little bit paranoid knowing that both Soviet KGB and probably some double agents within American system may be
Jesus
after me.
Christ.
So I wanted to settle down as far away as possible.
I can't believe there's
I
moles in the
requested
American
CIA
system.
to give me some kind of new identity and just let me go on my own. And I settled in Canada. I was a student. I changed many professions from farm help and laundry truck driver to language instructor and broadcaster for Canadian Broadcasting
McCarthy
Corporation in
didn't go
Montreal.
far enough. USSR killed
Well,
like
have you had any
35
threats on
plus
your life
million
or
of their
any,
own plus
Yes.
Europeans.
In about 5 years, KGB eventually discovered that I am working for Canadian Broadcasting.
Yeah, there are
since I
still
made a
people
very big
that
mistake.
make
I
fan
started
fiction of them.
I started working for overseas service of CBC, which is similar to Voice of America.
But you don't want to invade
in Russian
USSR?
language.
Should
And
have.
of course, monitoring service in USSR picked up every new voice.
Thank you.
Every new announcer they would make it a point to discover who he is. And in 5 years, sure enough, slowly but surely, they discovered that I am not Thomas Schumann, that I am Yuri Alexandrovich Bezmenov, and that
Schumann?
I'm working for Canadian Broadcasting. And undermining beautiful détente between Canada and USSR. And the Soviet ambassador Alexander Yakovlev made it his personal effort to discredit me. He complained to Pierre Trudeau, who is known to be a little bit soft on socialism.
Wait, Pierre?
And
Is that the father?
the
Trudeau?
management of CBC behaved in a very strange,
Justin?
cowardly way.
He was
unbecoming to
also-
representatives of a
He was also president. I don't. The father. Yeah, I've seen that conspiracy. You know what? I believe that conspiracy theorist about Fidel Castro being Trudeau's father. They look exactly the same, Chad. Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. Wait a minute. They look very similar. Fucking Fidel Castro. They look so similar. He looks Hispanic as fuck. Game can tell game, Chad. He looks Hispanic as fuck. Like, I think that if there's anyone out there, any political figure out there that could have managed to be a cock, first of all, and get cocked, and get cocked by Fidel Castro himself, it would have been Justin Trudeau's father. I think. I found an image. They don't look the same. Oh, this one. Okay, sorry. Google give me the less obvious examples. But basically, Trudeau's parents, both his mother and his father, were friends with Fidel Castro to the point that they went to Cuba. They fly to Cuba to meet him, right? And there's this theory that Fidel looks more like Fidel Castro looks more like Trudeau than his own father. So they say that he's an illegitimate child of the Trudeaus. Castro. I believe it. I could. There's this thing. Somebody. I don't know if this study is real or not. There was like a. I'm not a study. It was like a poll regarding which. Let me try to make this smaller. If the right-leaning people or the left-leaning people were more prone to being cocks, and it showed that it was the right-leaning people. But I don't know if I would believe that. Actually, I don't think that's true. Especially since the other ones are the ones that tend to encourage stuff like polyamorous relationships. Oh, that's too big. Sorry to have flashed you. Males on the stream. There you go. Trudeau was not Riley and he was a commie. Yeah, I'm aware. Isn't their whole fetish political compass, like fetish is mapped to the political compass? Yeah, they say that it's a right, but I don't know why I believe that's foul play. Left and right are freaks behind closed doors. Yeah, but I don't know, it seems weird to me. They are all connected. They found New York City mayor in Epstein files. What? They found New York City mayor Mamdani? Holy shit, they all know each other. Like a huge lobby. His mom was also a gigantic slut. She got back by the Rolling Stones! I didn't know that! Oh my god! That is bullshit though. She is a daughter of a bullish priest, probably a crypto. Dark Knight. He's Castro's kid. They say Merkel is Hitler's kid too, by the way. I would not see that why that's not the case. Was it Patton who wanted to rearm the Germans for a counter to the Soviets in the 40s? I wouldn't have gone very well. Pierre's wife also liked to spend a lot of time with Castro. Oh, Jesus. His mother was a starfucker whore, and they look identical. They look very similar, but I wouldn't say identical. But he definitely looks more like him than he looks like his father. In my humble little drow opinion, you know? Yeah. Oh, my tummy is starting to hurt. Pierre also declared martial law and killed a bunch of French Canadians. Why? Por favor, mis redeems, I can't do them right now. We're focusing on something important, okay? We'll That's a good businessman. You're a good businessman. That's awesome. Thank you for redeeming. You're a good businessman, but I will not speak in Spanish because I gotta focus, okay? We gotta focus. 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 Told me hurt a little bit, yeah.
Independent country like Canada, they listened to every suggestion that Soviet ambassador gave, and they started shameful investigation, analyzing content of my broadcasts to USSR. And sure enough, they discovered that some of my statements were probably to would be
I can't scream anymore. My mom has told me to shut the fuck up.
So I had to leave my,
Mi mami
my
dice
job.
que me callo.
And of course, subtle intimidations. They would say something like, please cross the street carefully because, you know, traffic is very heavy in Quebec. And fortunately, I know about the psychology and the logic of activity of the KGB, and I never allowed myself to be intimidated. This is the worst thing. This is what they expect a person, a defector, to be intimidated. Once they spot that you are scared, they keep on developing that line, and then eventually you either have to give up entirely and work for them, or they neutralize you. They would definitely stop all kind of political activity, which they failed to do in my case, because I was stubbornly working for the Canadian Broadcasting. And in response to their intimidations, I said that, look, this is a free country, and I am as free as you are. And I also can drive very fast. And gun control is not yet established.
Oh, yeah, they still do that say safe bullshit, be careful bullshit. What do you mean? I think that my brain pretty much ADHD its way out of here. We can listen to it again, but what do you mean? Komis could be here. He thought, I've never been to this country before.
In Canada, so I had a couple of good shotguns in my basement. So welcome to visit me someday.
He armed the American way.
With your Kalashnikovs
That would not
machine
happen
guns.
nowadays in
So
Canada. No
obviously
fucking way.
It didn't work. Intimidation didn't work. So they
Books
tried
trying to
different
threaten people
approach,
in
as
masked
I
language.
described. They approach
Oh,
on the
yeah.
highest level,
Absolutely.
on the level of Canadian bureaucracy.
And on that level, they were
on
successful.
that level, they were
Actual
successful.
threats.
On individual
It's a
level,
threat.
they failed.
Oh yeah, I get it. I
flat.
get it.
Mr.
I got that it was a
Brezhnev has
threat.
brought a series
But I didn't understand where it usually comes from. I thought he mentioned it at some point. They were like, "Hey, take care! I've been told that nowadays the cars they're not working correctly. So instead of you know being able to pause your car, you could end up falling through a hole, through a gigantic hole. You know, not overly specific, but you know." Canada's always been compromised. Really? Damn it. Well, it makes sense because it's over America, right? It's like a big fish. You're so autistic. They were threatening to do a hit and run. I am not autistic. I have ADHD, and my brother came here to tell me. My mom told me to shut the fuck up so I wouldn't scream. In that exact moment where they were mentioning that, I got distracted, which is different, okay? I'm not autistic. I just have attention deficit disorder, especially when my brother is telling me stuff. Because he's always like, full name. My mom tells you to shut the fuck up. Full name. Do you wanna eat this piece of macaroni that I just don't wanna eat finish anymore? Full name. When are we gonna go for fucking, I don't know, Cheetos to the convenience store? You know? So whenever that is a different one from the other one. Whenever he approaches my door, I feel the cold running on my spine. I'm not autistic, she says autistically. Shut the fuck up! Stop calling everything autistic, okay? Not everything is autistic. Some of us are just retarded, slightly retarded, or have other ailments on the brain. Don't necessarily have to be autism, okay? The internet thief brother, the other one. But I guess that technically both of them stole the internet since they both convinced my mother.
of slides with him that he has taken from the Soviet Union, and I think this is a good time to take a look at the slides.
Yes.
Now, the viewers will be able to see these slides as we
I'm gonna
talk
give my
about them.
brothers
Yes, this
thing
is a
A
collection
and
of
thing
slides
B
which are, some of them are
police or something.
snapshots from my family album. Some of them are documents which I smuggled from the Soviet embassy, and some are reproductions from local mass media.
When are we gonna get Taco Bell? We're not gonna get Taco Bell. We're gonna eat purely Russian food today, okay? Purely Russian food. I don't know what the Russians eat. What do they eat? I gotta ask Vlad, because I don't freaking know. I've never in my life met a Russian. The only Slavic people that I've ever met in my life were Czech, no Russian, or anything else. Pierogi is vodka and blini. Vodka, eat. Vivi is written check. Oh, check. Sorry, that is written in that way in English. I know in Spanish it's also check. Well, it's checo. Borscht. What is borscht? I don't know. Potatoes. It's all the same. Now it's forms. Yeah. Russians eat cigarettes. No, they don't. Okay, maybe the youth. I had a Russian classmate. Cool dude. We're all surprised that I was somehow paler than him. Jesus Christ, Aldo, please. Stand in the sun for at least 1 hour. Borscht is beet stew. Oh, I like beet stew. It's time, baby. What do you mean it's time? Time for what? Hello, brown girl snatcher. You will not snatch me. We're learning about communism. I am educated myself, so I don't get snatched, okay? I am impairing my female brain, so I never get picked ever in my life.
I usually show them to establish my credibility as a defector. This is a picture of my native town, 𝕤𝕤, about 20 miles north from Moscow. Characteristically, there's a statue of Comrade Lenin in the central square. This is myself at the age of 7.
That's fucking
again,
Stalin.
Characteristically, and the statue of Comrade Stalin extending his friendly hand to peoples of the world.
Such a jolly childhood. It's just normal for Russian kids to take pictures against the supreme leader Stalin.
At that age, of course, I was still idealistically minded young communist, and I still believe that sooner or later things will go for better. But I realized that the system stinks.
Ah, yes, friendly Uncle Stalin.
And that ideology is fake. And the propaganda about advanced Soviet agriculture simply didn't meet the criteria of reality.
The advanced Soviet agriculture was what I just mentioned before. This bean and this other wheat bean will work together, so they will share nutrients and water. It will not be that the most fit bean will grow before the other one, letting the other die. No. That is capitalistic propaganda, obviously. Everybody starved. 32 million people starved or got burned. So, I think it's fair to say this doesn't fucking work. I hate every slight commie that gets into any type of fight. You can see that they have the exact same. There's this picture of a Shiba Inu with a flag, a communist flag on the background. You already know when that person comments in anything, they're going to be an annoying fuck that never accepts that communism killed so many people. They will never accept it. There's this specific image that I see as the profile picture of most of these people. It's like they share one brain cell and they all decide to use this one because they say, oh, it's a cute little doggy and it's a radicalized movement that has killed billions of people. We're gonna put them together so we can fool everybody that is under the age of 15 that communism is good. Was that the Munchen one? I think it was. I think it is. Communism is expecting nature not to work, then killing people when it doesn't happen. Then people could just get into labor for food so they wouldn't starve. Obviously died building the highways in the winter. Oh no! Oh Jesus Christ. Yeah, I got it. Most people have a horrible understanding of farming. I've been growing cherry tomatoes from one that was wrought in 2 months and not even flowers. It is really complicated. If you haven't done it a shit ton while you were younger, how do you know? How do you know when it's gonna actually blossom? There's of course books regarding what you can do, right? But it's still difficult and it takes forever. And sometimes they can die, and sometimes they can get pests. Sometimes they don't grow good enough, and you end up starving regardless. So it is a very delicate system that we prefer nobody to touch in the sake of the greater good, because it will never be for the greater good. It's why I hate vegans. That's true. With a cow, you always know that the cow is gonna survive. Sometimes crops just fucking fail. That's true. Even legit communists should understand the flaws in trying to put it to use on a countrywide scale. Absolutely. I think that the best outcome of somebody being a communist is probably trying to form a commune with his friends, with his other fellow communists on a small like a small town or something, where they manage to trade and do everything themselves. But even then, we've got examples of cafeterias run in that economic system. It fails. There is small compounds, as far as I know, because I remember researching that back in the day. There's a small groups of people that live that way, and they actually manage to survive because all of them work. They actually got like a work schedule where they all have to manage different things, right? But if they didn't live so frugally, if they wanted to actively have some type of luxury, it would be impossible. If one of them decides to not work that day, the whole system falls apart. And sadly, laziness is part of the human nature unless you are a fucking cyborg. Or are actively trying to get away from society. Which I think that is a good start. Like, if you want to prove people wrong that this type of thing couldn't work, go risk yourself. Go do it on your own. Don't try to change the whole fucking fabric of society where millions of people depend on it working, you know? Because you can kill less people. If it's a group of like 30 people and they all are gonna choose to try this communist compound in the middle of nowhere, maybe they can survive. And even if they still start struggling, they can go outside of the compound and still buy food from a grocery store. You know, it's not the end of the world if it fails. But if it's every single country, if it's every single person in a country, it's gonna fall apart. Stuff like socialized healthcare doesn't really work either. I agree with that. I think that it rarely works. It very rarely works. It would be probably more fruitful for the people that are sick if there was some type of thing where you can get the money for whatever treatment you need and go to a private one. But even then, I think that the problem is that we are too many people in the world. I think that's the problem. There's too many people in the world, too little resources. Resources like there's not as much doctors that are good to treat every single bad case of something that somebody has. You know, there's not enough. It's just impossible. We need to use technology to improve that. That's why I do see positive things regarding AI and all of that, because now maybe we'll be able to, in Spanish you say abastecer, be able to fulfill everybody's needs in that way, since now an AI can recognize cancer in the lungs, something that takes years for a doctor to see, because they compare it with different cancer patients and non-cancer patients throughout all of their career, you know. So I do think that there is appliances for AI that could improve the situation, but I don't think the solution is fucking communism. We have too much to lose. You gotta understand that. We have too much to lose. You wanna try this on your own small scale? Go ahead. I will not judge you. I will only judge you if you try to push this type of things for everybody. Well, yeah, Canada is basically America Junior. Speak for yourself, baby. My people are a global minority. Most of our population is third world. Yes, absolutely. I can agree with that. Also, my people. You forgot to include me there. Actually, I don't think that we will catalog in the same space. Which is okay. Kind of crazy if you think about it. Hispanics are pretty much all mixed, but there's so many Hispanics that they're technically their own thing. You know what I mean? It's a mix. Lamau, you've seen my DNA results. God damn it, I forgot. Everyone is entitled to something, and there's not enough something. Most people will receive a low quality something. If you socialize healthcare, you bind poor people to low quality healthcare without the option of saying, you know what, it ain't worth it. I'm just gonna go to the doctor. Yeah, we would not be under the same group. Okay, guess you're right. We would not be in the
They
same
talk
group.
about abundance of food and there's none in the stores. There must be something wrong.
The limited resources are a factor, but the core of capitalism is wastefulness, unlimited growth, and planned obsolescence. That shit needs to go. Autarky and decent living for most people is possibly. So I think that the problem is that the core of capitalism is not wastefulness. It might be unlimited growth. It is not necessarily planned obsolescence. You gotta understand that the way that we are using capitalism nowadays is not the way it was intended. First of all, because we don't have free markets. We don't have free markets. That's all of it. We have regulated markets. Why? Because we have governments that regulated depending on what, because they lobby and it depends on which company, which transnational pays them the most. It is not fair game. We gotta learn to accept that. It is a consequence of an insane amount of social, let's say, socialistic hands over it. Because otherwise we wouldn't have done much public spending. We wouldn't be so able to get something turned around just because a company tells you to. Like, it would follow its natural course. There would be competition. There would be constant change on different markets. Like, I try to put Peru as an example. We have so many different brands of clothes, let's say for example. And the ones that manage to do it, almost everybody manages to do it. Like, clothes is almost something that will always maintain our economy, for example. Because there's just so many people that want things that are new, so many people that change in sizes. It's an unlimited market. But the problem is when you can no longer produce them for a lower price. When companies decide to just set a price for something and the other companies cannot compete against it. Like, the small ones cannot compete against it. It's a problem where if you start controlling the market, it will not flow naturally and it will not be able to work for everybody. I do firmly believe that. I don't think that capitalism is necessarily based on wastefulness, because you can see that in America but not in Peru, for example. And we're actively a more, let's say, we pay less taxes, and I see that at least everybody is able to suffice their living. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people, so many different resources, so many different things that they can do. I think the problem with consumerism lies more in a social nature that has to do with them trying to compete with each other. Like, I always speak about how fucked up I think America is in how, for example, the sexual market works over there. Like, men are expected to generate an insane amount of income because women see men that generate an insane amount of income and their standards like go through the roof. So the problem is comparison. The problem is that you guys, there is consequences for making everything super reachable for everybody, and there has to be a way to manage that. Like, because you can see this super rich guy. Let's say you're a girl from fucking Ohio, and you see this super rich guy from New Vegas, but the guy from Ohio obviously doesn't have the same amount of money from the guy from Vegas. New Vegas, did I say New Vegas? From Vegas. How do you're comparing the guy from Ohio to the guy from Vegas? Now, the only reason why you're able to do that is because of social media, right? Because otherwise you would be completely disconnected from the reality of this guy that lives over there. So it is a consequence. It's a social consequence in that sense. Of course, that is why, one of the reasons why you can't really expect people to change unless there's a social change. Like, there's way too many variables. At least that's what I think. Because otherwise, things would work differently. I feel like capitalism is not the problem. The problem is all of these things that leech onto the and change what the core is in on itself. Because at least here, like, you can compare it, you can see that reflected in many different situations. Not only social, like I just mentioned, the sexual market value, but rather also when it comes to companies, when it comes to small businesses. It is a matter of what you're exposed to. It is a very complex thing that I think comes with the fact that we're so technologically advanced. I don't think it's necessarily tied to capitalism on itself. I think it's the fact that we're so technologically advanced, yet we have women who are addicted to social media. We have guys that don't really like they doom and they doom and they doom and they don't want to fix their own lives or like try to compete in the social market. Like there's a lot of variables that are social, in my opinion. So I don't think that is necessarily only capitalism. That's my... You said New Vegas. I'm New Vegas. The one situation I think government protection should apply is encouraging domestic brands and corporations. Absolutely. I don't understand why that's not the case in America. There should be more competition. There should be an encouragement, a bigger encouragement regarding competition of small businesses and big businesses against each other instead of there being like one that manages everything. The one situation I think government protection should apply. Both extremes are doomed to fail. Capitalism just looks better. It keeps you alive. I think that it keeps you alive more than than socialism keeps you alive. I think that I'm not exaggerating. It keeps you alive. It gives you a chance to keep yourself alive. Even if you're poor as fuck, at least you have the chance. Meanwhile, in socialism, you fucking can't. Governments would bail out failing corporations. Current capitalism, the current one, is bullshit and due to lobbying and overregulation. There you go. Capitalism is specifically free trade. I feel that the Hispanic ethnicity is specifically being part Spaniard, part native, part black. Hence, me not viewing myself as one, no native and no black. Oh my god, you're Hispanic. Shut the fuck up. It's because huge companies lobby for regulation since they can afford to jump through the hoops. Yeah. They ask... So, what companies usually do is they start small, right? They start small. This probably started like in the 50s, in the 60s or 70s. They start small. With their normal competition, they build things very simply. It was way easier back then for them to establish this because they didn't have as much regulations or they didn't have to pay taxes sometimes. They grow like that, and once they get big enough, around the 2000s or 2010s, they decide to start doing that. They start pushing for regulations. They start lobbying politicians. They start doing all of these changes so that the field is no longer flat, but rather it is very hard for a regular guy to do the same as they are doing, even in a minor scale. I think that is the problem. That is the core problem of capitalism. No, like being applied nowadays, as you can say.
My father was, he's on the left here, my father was officer of the General Staff of the Soviet Army. He was inspector of land forces, Soviet troops stationed in countries like Mongolia, Cuba, East European countries. Were he alive today, most likely he would be inspecting Soviet troops in Nicaragua, Angola, and many other parts of the world. Fortunately, he died and he didn't see the disgrace because...
It started before the 2010s. It started in the 60s and never stopped. That's even worse! And just imagine the amount of families. That's why I'm not that surprised when it comes to the Epsteins being connected to literally everybody that has power in the world. Because people that have power meet each other. They become friends with each other. Especially if it's older families. Like, if there was the president 20 years, 30, fucking 40 years ago. His family, to this very day, probably still has connections to the government somehow, some way, you know? A lot of things are consequences of capitalism. Not to say it would be better with a different system, especially extremes. We may just have different issues. Yeah, I think that is true. I think that, well, at least with capitalism, there is a chance, you know? There is a chance to improve. You can sell things. If I hired someone, even at minimum wage, I'd no longer profit. If I could work for him. It's kind of weird.
Deep inside, he was a Russian patriot.
I don't understand why.
He didn't like the idea of expanding Soviet military might, especially in the areas where we were not welcomed at all. Unlike many other military officers, he was reporting directly to the Minister of Defense, bypassing KGB and diplomatic service. In other words, he was a trusted military professional. And my impression that this type of people are much less hawkish and adventuristic than party bureaucrats in Kremlin. When American mass media describes Soviet military as potentially dangerous counterpart for Pentagon, I simply
Minimum
laugh
wage
because
causes
I know
employment.
better.
Also,
I
my
know
children
that
love the
most
mines.
dangerous part of the Soviet power structures are not military at all. Most likely, if they come to power in my country, they'll be more sensible negotiators for nuclear disarmament and withdrawal of the Soviet troops from many parts of the world.
But if someone from the party structure or the KGB structure were to give the orders for a military
They have to
intervention,
obey,
they
yes,
would follow.
because they are professional military. But they, you see, the triangle of power and hate in USSR is the party at the top, the party elite, the oligarchy of the party, then the military and the KGB at the bottom. They hate each other. And the most hated triangle, the most hated corner of the triangle is the Communist Party bureaucrats. They are the most adventuristic, senile megalomaniacs. They can start war, I wouldn't be surprised. Not the military. They know what war is.
Yes.
At least my father did. This is the picture taken at the entrance of my
You mean the
Institute
guys
of
that
Oriental Languages. It's a part
command
of Moscow State
everything,
University.
like Lenin
I
and Stalin,
graduated in 1963.
their parties?
And
Now, excuse me, which one were you on?
I am on the right.
You're
Obviously on
And
the right.
left is my,
He looks nothing like the one on the left.
Vadim Smirnov, who later was a apparatchik in the Central Committee of the Soviet Union Communist Party.
Oh, psycho divinity.
It's a functionary, something like civil service in British Empire. Someone who is never fired from the service. He stays there internally. He may not be promoted too high, but he's a dependable bureaucrat who will stay forever. I studied not only languages, but also history, literature, even music. I'm on this picture, I'm trying to learn how to play Indian musical instrument. I even tried to look like an Indian when I was second year student.
Not bad.
Yes, actually it was strongly encouraged by,
He
the,
was an
by the
Indian
instructors in my
weeb.
school because
He was an
the
Indo-weeb.
graduates of my school were later on employed as diplomats.
I wonder if that's what
journalists,
Tudor
or
was trying to
spies.
do.
As every Soviet student, I
A
was
peeve.
quote-unquote volunteering for harvesting grain in Kazakhstan. This is the biggest
Trudeau. Yeah, exactly my
agricultural
thought.
blunder of the Soviet government. But I didn't have much choice, of course, because the communist motto borrowed from the Bible says, "Those who do not work shall not eat." And you can see me eating, therefore I was working, and you can see how happy I was about it. I went through a very extensive physical and military training,
Holy shit.
including the including the military games in
I wonder if every single
areas,
Russian back in the day was like that.
suburban areas of Moscow.
Were they all ripped as fuck?
And here, for example, we are on the tour.
Forced to be ripped or
And by the
die.
end of my training in school, I was recruited by the KGB. This picture was taken on that day, and you can see again how happy it feels to be.
I don't see a happy look on your face,
Our
Judy.
conversation with Yuri Alexandrovich Bezmenov, who is a defector from the Soviet Union, a former propaganda agent for Novosti and the KGB, will continue after this message.
We need training like that again for the USA in school. Ideally, I think that some changes to the cafeterias would be good, because the way that Americans eat is very bad, especially in their childhood. A lot of things, this is something that I learned recently, a lot of things that you eat can damage your brain, your fucking perception of reality. So having a good diet is very important for you to live a good life. Modern food is poison, absolutely. I know about the fats and the oils that sell in America. Very different down here. I think most people have a very good diet down here. And that's why we're somehow improving our condition. Otherwise, we'd be fucking dead. The food too. Thanks, Michael Obama. Michelle Obama. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. It kind of looks like they're like fucking destroying society sometimes. Chemicals and preservatives and hormones and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I've read. I follow a lot of conspiracy theory. I don't follow. I always stumble, and I'm not proud to say this, but I always end up in the conspiracy theory side of Twitter, and it's very funny because even if the things that they say are insane, I think that they somehow could help your life if you apply them. Like, I remember there's a conspiracy theory regarding how kosher food is food. Obviously, it's food that is treated by the standards of the Jewish community, right? There's like certain rules, but aside from that, it technically goes against everything that is actually being sold in American supermarkets. So what this guy pretty much told you is that if you go to supermarkets, try buying kosher food. It would be practically hacks. You would eat them way healthier than if you were choosing the regular stuff. And I thought that was hilarious because everybody can buy that. He had a huge list regarding different types of kosher food. Like, he had even sausages, from sausages to chips to cereals to everything. And I think that it reminds me back in the day whenever feminists would get angry about pink razors being more expensive. And the answer to that was obviously, well, if pink razors are more expensive and being a different color doesn't change how well it works for you, why not just buy the blue ones? Why give a fuck about it being pink and there being a tax for it being pinker? You know? So just buy kosher food. There are kosher pickles with artificial dyes in them, though. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Kosher/halal food is a scam, like organic labels don't mean crap. Really? The food we got was so bad. I like pork. Keep buying yourself pork. That doesn't mean that you cannot eat kosher or halal. You can just pick it up. They don't ask you for an ID for that, do they? They're never gonna be like, excuse me, what is your religion? You can't buy that. A kosher thing is more about supporting an in-group, I think. They have to pay money to get certified. Oh. A lot of the time, the pink item was also just different. Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, what they were trying to argue is that exactly. Like, what they tried to say is that it wasn't different. That the men's one was better, right? But they're exactly... No, wait, sorry. What the feminists were trying to say was that both the pink and the blue razors were absolutely the same. The only reason why they decided to charge you more when it was pink is because women tend to pick the pink one, right? That was their whole argument. And then turns out, like you just said, it was not actually the case. But even then, people were trying to use their own logic against it and telling them, well, if it's the same, why won't you buy the blue one? And since it's not the case, and the pink one usually has like borders that are softer because women skin is softer than men's and it might hurt them or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. There's like different systems of razors. There was an actual reason for it being more expensive. It was not just because it was for women. You would buy the pink one. I would. I have bought the pink one before. What do you mean? It makes my skin super soft. Before I let you buy this, let me see your foreskin. Because your food exists so that they never integrate. Really? You know what? Whenever I go to America again, I'm gonna try kosher food and I'm gonna try halal food because those things don't exist in Peru. Prove it. You want me to show you my razor? I don't think I have a razor right now. I think I threw it away. If this was an actual show, I wonder what else they would talk about in the other episodes. Where is Alto staying? Kosher meat technically doesn't exist. The Talmud says that to slaughter a cow in a kosher way, you are to hold the head and slice the throat in one motion with no stunning beforehand. As you thank God, most places laws ban slaughtering without stunning. Kosher from supermarket stuff just means the rabbi blessed it in a factory. Makes sense. I had some halal fast food once. It was pretty good. I want to try that just to see if it's actually different. I'll let you know. Since I am not overly exposed to food that they sell in America, I'll let you know if the kosher and the halal food is better. I am an unbiased tester. I'll tell you if you need to buy this or not. We eat kosher so that we never really integrate. That sucks, man. I don't understand that pride. If you're going to live in America, you should integrate. Should integrate. I'll never not be against that. If you live in America, whatever culture you are from, you need to integrate to their culture. Otherwise, get the fuck out. That's all. That doesn't mean that you need to get rid of all of your previous culture, but you need to act like an American would. You need to respect the rules like an American would. You need to act American. That's what I mean. I only had it because I was in Washington, D.C. Obama was president. Wait, what were the options? What were the other options aside from the halal one? What do you mean? You wish people are really integrated. They integrate so hard that they are even underground in New York City. I still wonder why they never led to any investigations. That's not how Jews operate. They are incredibly tribal. That sucks. Why can they not integrate? Chad, is the only reason why I think that I would be willing to integrate to American society is because I'm half white. Is that why? Like, is there something intrinsic to me, to other people not being able to integrate? Could I use that as a justification to get myself a green card? I'm gonna lie, I feel like my issue with Venezuelans is that they don't integrate despite the fact they don't even need to learn a new language. It's hard. It's hard. It's a hardest life for us. It's the hardest life for us. Na 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 na.
All right. As every student in USSR, I went through very...
Assimilation is not halal? We have halal food in Peru? What the fuck? Really? Over in Lima? You gotta hook me up with the halal vendor. And also some of those those packages that they give the army men that are like what are they called? I always forget the name. Those packages that the army eats whenever they're in dangerous places. MREs, yes. I think you're just open-minded, baby. I don't think I'm open-minded. Eat a few more burgers, work on the culo, and they'll hand you a green card. I'm working on it. I'm working on it on the gym. Jim, the white jeans miss your chest. There's flat white women, right? There is flat white women. Wait a minute. There isn't? There has to be. That is not variation that has anything to do with race. Shame the integrate by signing the papers. You're in fucking Sweden! Shut up! I don't want to go to Sweden! I'm feeding myself. You reminded me, I looked it up. Apparently, I do in fact qualify for holding back to Lithuania. Yes, go ahead, go to Lithuania. You'll experience what being Lithuanian is. White women tend to have an average around a C or a D cup. Really? That's some interesting data. This applies to everyone who was here before 1940. Their kids, their grandkids, and great grandkids. Go ahead, Alto. Go ask the Lithuanian embassy. Ask them, can I get into Lithuania, please? And they'll be like, looking from your head to your toes, and they'll be like, all right, I will let you in. You look Lithuanian enough. You're the move expert, Autos. Yes. What the hell? How do you know that? Did you pull that out? How do you know that? Damn right. Alright. Well, I am flat, so I don't know what you're doing over here. I am a proud small-chested woman. I think I qualify as a small-chested woman in every reality. I qualify as a small-chested woman in every reality. But I don't think that I am flat, regardless, in any reality. I am flat-chested, but not flat. Sorry, fuck, what the fuck am I saying? I am small-chested, but not flat. Oh my god. In every reality. In every version of me, in every single world, in every single dimension. I am not entirely flat. I am small-chested. Alright, I'll be a V super quick. Give me one beat. I've been drinking so much water, chat. I'm trying to cure myself from the illness that I have. We're in the 27th minute. We haven't even done an hour. I'm back. Anyways, I think I'm gonna keep on watching the interview. I think that this is not the interview that I wanted to see, because I remember the class where he talks about something else. It's when he mentioned the thing that I wanted to see, which is rather silly because we've been 30 minutes in. I don't know though, because it says we're stages of ideological subversion. He hasn't really got to that point. He's still yapping about his own life, which is fine. It's fine. It's all fine. Boop.
Extensive.
Hello, Scooty. Welcome home. Surprisingly enough, I'm still streaming. Although my internet died for a little bit. Sorry, I was so enraged to start streaming immediately afterwards, even if I could solve the problem by connecting the cable to my brothers. But I had to negotiate. Okay? I was there for that. Alright, that's good. There is a university presentation in the longer video. This one? This one? No university presentation. That's the most important part, I think. The subversion and demoralization, yes.
Physical and military training and civil defense training too. Unlike in United States,
this guy did
where
everything.
Civil defense is virtually non-existent, zero. In USSR, every student, whatever is major subject, has to go through very extensive 4-year military and civil defense training. You can see me here with a group of students during one of the war games near Moscow. The main idea, of course, is to prepare a huge reserve army of the USSR. Each student has to graduate as a junior lieutenant. In my case, it was administrative and military intelligence service.
Well, at least I forced them to be educated in some way, right?
As a translator with the Soviet Economical Aid Group, building refinery complexes.
He was an Indian move. That's so funny.
I was still naively, idealistically believing that what I was doing contributes to the understanding and cooperation between the nations.
The thing is, also, since he was only exposed to what the KGB told him... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to screen my microphone. It's my microphone! I don't even know when it's too loud or not. Maybe I'm just... My voice varies too much on loudness, so I can't really tell when I'm being super loud or not. But I was gonna say... it seems that because he only interacted with KGB members, he only had his family, his Russian family around. He never truly knew that things were better outside, right? He never truly knew until he moved to India, and even then in India, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't as good as it could have been. But that motivated him, which is kind of cool. It sounds fine. Okay, thank you.
It took me quite a number of years to realize that what we were bringing to India was a new type of colonialism, 1,000 times more oppressive and exploitative than any colonialism or imperialism in history of mankind. But at that time I was still hoping that, well, maybe it's not that bad, could be worse, and things may go for better. And I even tried to implement the beautiful Marxist motto, proletarians of all the countries unite. I tried to unite with a nice Indian girl, and I was actually I was fascinated by Indian culture, by the family life in this country. But obviously Communist Party had different plans for my genes, so I had to marry this beautiful Russian girl. In the span of my career, I married 3 times. Most of these
Jesus Christ, man!
Of convenience. On advice from
maybe you should have stick with the Indian woman.
This is normal practice in USSR. When a Soviet citizen is assigned to a foreign job, he has to be married, either to keep family in USSR as hostages, or if it's a convenience marriage like mine, so that the husband and wife are virtually informers on each other to prevent defection or contamination by decadent imperialist or capitalist ideas. In my case, I hated that girl so much that the moment I landed in Moscow, we were divorced, and I married later, second time. By the end of my first assignment in India, I was promoted to the position of public relation officer. You can see me here translating a speech by a Soviet boss.
And you're on the right.
I'm on the right here, yes. And The occasion was commissioning of the refinery complex in Bihar, Barauni. Back in Moscow, I was immediately recruited by Novosti Press Agency, which is a propaganda and ideological subversion.
DM'd you the lecture of the 7-minute bit that you wanted to show? It's so interesting, but I might go into this without the stream. I think that what I wanted to see is what Sunlarit has sent me. Give me that link. Yeah, it's a concise bit. Yeah. I also wanted to learn. It's better to learn about how their lives were. I think I've seen this exact video way too long ago. I just didn't remember exactly what Judy said. Alright, it's G-Sport. Thank you, Retimera. Thank you for the HP potion. But yeah, that was Yuri's life. Now let's see what he has learned and what he can teach us.
Tendencies in each society, in each country, which are going to opposite direction from the basic moral values and principles. To take
Thomas Schumann. Suki was still using his English name instead of the Russian one. Soviet defector from Novosti Press, KGB propaganda expert. That's interesting. I wonder if he kept his name because I would make Americans trust him a bit more.
Take advantage of these movements to capitalize on them is the main purpose of the originator of subversion. So we have religion, we have education.
Oh, he was in witness
We
protection.
have social life, we have power structure, we have labor relations, unions, and finally we have law and...
This is what's happening to most people, chat, by the way. If you learn this, you cannot get to understand what is happening in America nowadays, what is happening all around the world. Because these type of views have stormed in a subversive way, especially women. I feel like it's so common to see them amongst women. Because they're way too empathetic. They're way too empathetic towards people. They care, they're very righteous. Bye bye, Scoldy, bye! So, this pretty much explains how it has propagated all throughout these different mediums.
Order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? These are the areas of application of subversion. What it means exactly? In case of religion, destroy it, ridicule it, replace it with various sects, cults, which bring people's attention, faith, whether it is naive, primitive, doesn't really matter. As long as the basically accepted religious dogma is being slowly eroded and taken away.
That's why we have crazies that believe in Satan and in fucking Aphrodite and all of those Greek gods. And also, which I think that sometimes the most radical leaning to the right people are also insane because they believe in fucking... I think it's Odin or some type of German... oh no wait, Freya. They believe in Freya and all of that. They have like a huge pagan LARPing thing. Those right-wing pagan LARPing. Yeah, exactly. They LARP that like it's real. Like they're the whatever... I think their religion has a name. It's like what Vikings used to believe. Right-wingers LARP as pagans. Yes! Norse mythology, there you go. So they believe that Norse mythology is real because I think that back in the day, the mustache man also believed that there was like mustache man paganism. Some do, yes, absolutely. Because whenever, again, no matter which flavor of... Thank you for the follow. I knew that was coming, that's why I stopped. Thank you. Who else will you get? It will get you to Valhalla. It is a rather destructive religion to follow because they believe that you will die in battle. And it's fine if you fucking die in battle. Whatever you do not research about Madame Blavatsky and their influence on Hitlerian though. I think that no matter which flavor of radicalism it is, it always has the same retards at the top. and they believe in the same type of shit in paganism. They believe in the same type of thing in paganism and in being higher beings in society and occultism, because their egos, I think that once you reach the top, your ego kind of tells you that you're a bit of a higher being, and you try to find whatever occult. Since you already achieved being at the top, you kind of try to overly explain stuff, so you transform yourself into this type of thing. You believe in fucking Odin, and in Loki, and in Freya, and all that. Just because. What is wrong with the blood for the blood god? You can see it exactly like that, yeah. We could argue the you know how there's this representation of the chaos gods as they would be perceived as from an average person's perspective as being righteous, normal looking, even precious beings, when they're actually the worst thing that can happen, the worst thing that can influence you. Madame Blavatsky, the lollipop of the Fate universe. Did they actually make her a lollipop in the Fate universe? There's no fucking way. I didn't know that. Pure communism in our homeland. Pure retardedy. Retardedy. Basically, H-Guy ordered a subversion of the Norse myth. That's why most of the Waffen got runic symbology on their forces. Yeah, they took the Norse myths that already existed from the Vikings, and they tuned it their way into making it a thing worth dying for during the Second World War. It's such a big amount of LARP. You wanna tell when somebody is fucking insane? Just ask them what religion they believe in. If they say some shit like Norse or fucking pagan or whatever, most of the times they're fucking insane in the head, and they believe they're the main protagonists. That also happens with communists a lot. They believe that they're the main protagonists. They believe that that's kind of why they venture themselves through a communistic economic model. It's because they believe that they can actually make it work. Maybe Stalin was not the chosen one, but maybe I am. Maybe fucking Lenin was not the chosen. Maybe Castro was not the chosen one. Maybe Hugo Chavez wasn't the chosen one, but maybe I am. If I tried it, I bet that the God would bless me. I bet that I could manage to do it. I bet. You know? It's an acid trip. Radical Western left is textbook everything he's going to be talking about. Yeah, but I'm just mentioning about the Norse things, because I also think it's retarded from the right.
Away from the supreme purpose of religion, to keep people in touch with the Supreme Being. That serves the purpose. Therefore, replace it, accepted, respected religious organizations with fake organizations. Distract people's attention from the real faith and attract them to various different faiths. Education. Distract them from learning something which is...
Just imagine that probably the reason why he's able to talk about this back in the day was because America was very anti-communistic, anti-Russia. So they pushed this guy probably to say all of these things because he had the experience regarding it. In this day and age, I don't think that they would have given him this much space to speak about it.
Constructive, pragmatic, efficient. Instead of mathematics, physics, foreign languages, chemistry, teach them history of urban warfare, natural food, home economy, your sexuality, anything, as long as it takes you away, okay? Social life. Replace.
And also it makes you feel like you belong. Like all of those types of things, if you start telling people that they belong to a group because of gender, because of religion. Get into the cables. Sure. Get into the cables, and I'm afraid he might get electrocuted. This guy doesn't learn. Anyways, yeah, if you give a person a group to belong to, and that group is subversive enough, You can make them pretty much do anything. Well, he was a deflector. No one hates it more than when they figure out they have been... Wait. Clearly he's a Russian bot. There you go, Vivi. That's Fate Blavatsky. Madame Blavatsky from Fate. I mildly remember Madame Blavatsky. Wasn't she tied to occultism? Because there was also this woman that... Sorry, this man. I think that she was tied also to... Aleister Crowley, perhaps? Who is like the father of Satanism? Yes, Theosophy. There you go. Yes, there you go. Okay, I nailed it. It is that woman. Yeah, she influenced the mustache man. So present to absolutely nobody, because I just told you, all of these evils are tied together from the same string. Oh, that's why it was called the German Nationalistic Party. The National Socialism Party, sorry. Do you wanna see Loli Blavatsky? We're learning so much today, chat. We're learning so much today. She's a loli hack. I can fix her. No, you can't. She's an enemy of God and she shall be purged. Enemy of God. Let me put her in the background of the stream. Blavatsky. Put her here? Oh god, something moved. There we go. This is Blavatsky. Read her Wikipedia entry very quickly so I can explain to you how she's connected to all of this bullshit. Let's see. Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, often known as Madame Blavatsky, was a Russian and American mystic and writer who co-founded the Theosophical Society in 1875. She gained an international following as the primary founder of Theosophy as a belief system. Theosophy being a religious movement established in the United States in the late 19th century, founded primarily by the Russian Helena Blavatsky and based largely on her writings. It draws heavily from both older European philosophies such as Neoplatonism and Indian religious cults, I guess? She was an aristocrat. So she was part of the families that had a lot of power back then in the day. She developed an interest in Western esotericism during her teenage days. According to her later claims, she embarked on a series of world travels, visiting Europe, Americas, and India. She also claimed that during this period she encountered a group of spiritual adepts, the Masters of the Ancient Wisdom, who sent her to the Shigatse, Tibet, where they trained her to develop a deeper understanding of the synthesis of religion, philosophy, and science. Or... Theosophy. Wait, Theosophia? Where is Aleister Crowley connected in this? He's not mentioned? Crowley. He's only mentioned in esotericism. Oh, Aleister. Curious. Anyways. Your hostie? Then allow me to crusade this woman on a one mission from God. Not gonna happen. Makes you wonder that the LaVey and Manson got support from the CIA and KGB. It is all connected, chat. I'm used to people calling me that a lot. Huh? Theosophy, I think she meant that the USA commies are the tarts. Yes, not you. That's awesome. I forgive you, baby. I misunderstood. It's okay. Anyways. Yeah, we can continue this. I was basically trying to tell you that everything is connected due to stupid religions that are paganistic in nature and not really real. This one? Yes, okay, let's continue.
Traditionally established institutions and organizations with fake organizations. Take away the initiative from people. Take away the responsibility from naturally established links between individuals, group of individuals, and society at large, and replace them with artificially, bureaucratically controlled bodies.
The reason why I cannot improve my economic situation is because of racism. It's because I don't have support for the government. It's because of classism. It's because of this, and that.
Instead of social life and friendship between neighbors,
Gender.
establish social workers institutions. People who are on payroll of whom? Society? No. Bureaucracy. The main concern of social workers is not your family, not you, not social relations between groups of people. The main concern is to get the paycheck from the government. What will be the result of their social work doesn't really matter. They can develop all kind of concepts to show to the government and to the people that they're useful. Okay, away from the natural links, power structure. Okay, the natural bodies of administration, which are traditionally either elected by people at large or appointed by elected leaders of society, are being actively substituted by artificial bodies. The bodies of people, groups of people, whom nobody elected. Never. As a matter of fact, most of the people don't like them at all, and yet they exist. One of such group is media. Who elected them? How come they have so much power? Almost monopolistic power on your mind. They can rape your mind.
Yes.
Who elected them? How come they have a nerve to decide what is good and what is bad for the elected by you?
Or simply what they show, you know? Because there's a lot of instances where you will not see any news regardless of which side it is on, just simply not reporting things, you know? So, it is pretty much control onto what little trust most people have, being shown what is relevant all around the world. There is a really good Chinese professor that explains the psychology of evil and how these people from secret societies, basically a religion of very wealthy individuals. I'll post it later on Discord. I've seen that guy before. I've seen plenty of his videos. Yeah, he talks about how that works in the States, but I think he's a little biased because it's rather similar in China as well. I'm poor because of racism, not here, but probably someone is thinking about my skin color. I made a CNN joke already. Same thing with entertainment, movies, and TV shows, which influence people's perception of what is normal. Yes. The average woman cannot throw a man on the ground with punches or kicks. Or anything, really. And the amount of women that believe that they can is insane. There's women that die thinking that they can go against a criminal that is trying to steal their purses. You have? Yeah, absolutely. I've seen this guy before. The Chinese professor that talks about evil and secret societies. He can't talk about the Chinese problems. He lives in China. He'll get executed. Absolutely. I am aware. It's really sad that there is almost no Americans talking about that, though. The thing is, it is rather convenient that they let in only people that are amicable with their regime. Because you can't really criticize things you don't know. And the locals, even the ones that emigrate, it's hard for them to voice themselves because they still probably have family back there, you know? It is very complicated. I don't try to hold any... The reason I try to not hold Chinese citizens responsible for not talking about it because I'm aware how difficult it is. I would be being a bit of a hypocrite because I criticize the people that were asking Olga to give her perspective regarding the war in Russia, right? When it comes to civilians, You can't force them to do something or to answer. Especially not blame them for the whole thing that happens over there. Right. Then disappear for a while and then they come back along in China. Yes. Didn't it happen with a Chinese billionaire? He mentioned some problems with China's government. Then he disappeared. Wasn't it Jack Ma? Jack Ma got re-educated. That's true. Jack Ma got rebooted, guys. Jack Ma's brain got rebooted. Because after that, he never did public appearances again. Was that his name? Yes, Jack Ma. He's the owner of Alibaba and AliExpress. Did he? I haven't watched the new videos. You should. You should Google what happened to Jack Ma. Yeah. Eventually, it will be illegal for me to Google that over here. But while I have the time, I would love to yap about it. Do you think, guys? Do you think that I can ask for asylum in America? If things get back, can I ask for political asylum in America? Jack Ma always seemed kind of retarded to me in the few instances I saw him. Yeah. I get what you mean by that. It's a different culture. Lol, sure.
President and his administration. Who the hell are they? 𝕊𝕤𝕖𝕤, who was hated by the liberal left, called them a bunch of enfeebled snobs. And that's exactly what they are. They think they know. They don't. The level of mediocrity in a big establishment like New York Times, Los Angeles Times, major television network, you don't have to be excellent journalist. You have to be exactly a mediocre journalist. That's easier to survive. There's no competition anymore. You have your good, nice...
I didn't report this because I didn't know. I didn't report this because it's conspiracy. I didn't report this because CNN and Fox News over in the States didn't say shit about it, you know? Keeping you in a shed in the back. In the backyard. Oh my god. I'm not gonna live in your shed. If that happens, can you help the greatest businessman immigration? All of my businessmen are very based, I gotta say. I bet that not a single one of them is secretly a Fed. Because otherwise, they would have pushed me probably to print 3D guns or something. All of my businessmen, I can vouch for them. They can all get American citizenships. I promise. Not that I would try to bring you over there. Because again, I did speak about integration. But if you can integrate, sure, why not? I bet that the Americans would love to have you instead of people that are not from their same religion. You know? Jack Madong? Fuck you, Scooty! I sincerely thought you were writing it as his whole name. Fuck you!
Income
You can't even speak at all of a voice.
That's it. Whether you are better or worse doesn't really matter anymore. As soon as you're smiling to the camera and do your job. That's it. No more competition. Power structure slowly is eroded by the bodies and groups of people who do not have neither qualification nor the will of people to keep them in power, and yet they do have power. Okay. Together with that, there is another process. Law enforcement, law and order organization and structure.
What is happening in Europe is crazy.
25 years. If you see
the fact you can get detained.
You can see that in new movies, a policeman, an officer of the United States Army looks dumb, angry, psychotic, paranoid. A criminal looks nice, kind of, well, he smokes hash and shoots the whatever drug. But basically, he's a nice human being. He's creative. And he's unproductive only because society oppresses him. Whereby a general of Pentagon is always, by definition, a war maniac. A policeman is a pig, rude policeman.
This will never not remind me about the Jubilee IQ test. Or the IQ rating that they gave each other. Where a bunch of people went to the Jubilee program and they decided to put themselves in order to from which had the lowest to the highest IQ. And there was this girl who works in a fucking lab. She's like I don't know if like a lab assistant or she actually graduated as a biology major or something. And she put herself first, and then she was like the 4th, 5th, or 6th. And they also started bullying the guy that was in the military. They pretty much tried their best to categorize him as the dumbest one. She ended up being the least intelligent. Oh, that's worse. Oh my god. It's because it's rather easy. The military was the 3rd smartest. Makes sense. Wait, the military was the 1st. Wait a second. Getting derailed again, getting distracted again. 𝕬𝕦𝕤𝕚 IQ test. Which ones were the results at the end? So it was the Asian guy first, then the white woman, then the guy who was in the military, then the black woman, then the Chinese guy, and then the girl that said she worked in a lab. Yeah, you're right. But there wasn't that much difference between... Oh my god, this woman had 112, 123, 131, 131, 133, 136. A little crazy. Let's see, is this video?
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into another
Very quick.
episode of Rain. Before we get into our show, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, 𝕓𝕦𝕤𝕚.
I don't give a fuck.
I wasn't planning to go to college. That wasn't like a goal of mine. My parents were like, well, you should apply to at least one college. And I was like, we'll never get in here. And then I went to Yale.
We will 6 people together to rank themselves based on perceived intelligence. Then we had them compare... Nobody in their right mind would have read that fast. They compare their IQs.
Should we just like go down and do intros? Yeah, I'm Sade, I'm 24. I work in finance. I have a bachelor's degree. I went to Yale.
I'm Tyler, I'm 21. I'm a high school graduate and I work in the Marine Corps.
I'm Kaylee, I'm 25, I'm a software developer. I went to Ohio University and I have a bachelor's degree.
Maria, I'm 30 years old. I have my PhD in cancer biology and I work in a biotech industry. Grad school, I went to University of South Carolina, and undergrad, I went to University of Florida.
Hi everybody, my name is Sean. I'm 27. I'm the director of social media for a company, and I also work for 𝕓𝕦𝕤𝕚𝕚. I got a double major in dance and cultural anthropology. Undergrad, I went to Loyola Marymount University.
Double major in dance and cultural anthropology. Dance? How is dance a major? Maria SMH. Yeah, she's the one. This video is a classic. They all mock the arrogant biology major. Yes.
Hi everybody, I'm Ray. I'm 24. I graduated with a bachelor's degree from Harvard recently, and I work in consulting.
Oh, y'all are babies. I know, that's what I'm saying, is age a factor?
Yeah, it gives you like years of experience.
Yeah, I guess we need maybe it's good to identify what intelligence means to everybody.
I think intelligence is better defined as your adaptability and your problem-solving skills more than it is your education. Obviously, like the education, the stuff you've been through puts a lot into play in it because it gives you more resources, more thoughts to draw from. The formal education definitely helps, but I don't think it's in any way essential.
So what is the most essential?
I could already tell this guy was intelligent just because of the way that he moves his mouth. The dance major still mocked her, and he was more humble. The retards usually are the ones that are the least humble. Maybe he is preserving cultural dances like that one you did in school. Anaconda! Underwear basket weaving tear garbage.
The most essential thing was probably be common sense.
Yeah, so for me personally, I think intelligence is both EQ, IQ, and that common sense, street smart intelligence, all of that combined.
People consciously or unconsciously, when
Hello, Nano Squid. Sorry, chat. I have one chatter in YouTube that I completely ignored, sadly. Probably for his own safety too. Someone is always talking about this series, it seems. I wish they would stay away from me. What do you mean? It's a good series. Fate/stay night is a good series. Oh my god. Thank you for your input, Nano Squid. Kinda wish we had more basketry in this country, to be honest. We don't want to get them away from fucking cocaine. Hello, Nano Squid. You have shit taste. Hi, hello. You don't have shit taste. I understand the being exhausted from the Fate/stay night being everywhere, but I like it. I like Fate/stay night. I really like the art style. You should watch Fate Unlimited Blade Works instead, or Fate Heaven's Feel movies. I've heard those are really good as well. Or maybe watch the one where Ilya and... was it Kuro? Ilya and Kuro are magical girls. Totally not just lonely babe. Freeze my Ilya, there you go. However, Fate/stay night has the best doujins. Do not talk about that, or the best eroge. I haven't watched a single Fate/stay night doujin in my life, so I wouldn't know. There's also a third loli in there, not mentioned often. Oh man. Sad, poor Loli. I knew she was dumb when she fell for that EQ meme when discussing actual intelligence. Oh right, she's like, actually, intelligence depends on... What are you talking about? Are you talking emotional intelligence? Are you talking about artistic intelligence? There's so many intelligences.
see someone, form an opinion immediately. Like I'm sure we all did right away.
When I saw you, I told myself, Maria, do not judge him just by his looks. He could be throwing you off, or that's just who he is, but he can talk the talk and walk the walk. Sean, I...
Doesn't just mean that you're a discriminating fuck. An automatic discriminating fuck. Because I do think that this guy could just be gay and very intelligent, you know what I mean? I don't think that because you're dressed a certain way means that you're less or more intelligent. Because a lot of intelligent people are eccentric as fuck. So, kinda bad on her, like...
didn't want to judge him based on the way he looks or dresses or acts, so I was like, I think he's intelligent.
First impressions, I would put him at the bottom only because when I was in school, all the other people with like the bright neon colors and stuff, they were typically the ones doing worse in classes. If we were ranking confidence, I'd definitely put Sean at very first place.
So what is the definition that we're going with is the biggest question.
I like
a liberal being the most discriminatory person around. Who would have thought? Actions speak louder than words, if you ask me. I thought that that was true for a little while when I was younger. The thing about the colors? Same, but I go direct in the weight as a twin. I'm serious. They tend to be the most discriminatory because they don't see past whatever boxes you usually put people in. I think I am... I better not say what I think I am. There is a video with ICE agents that happened not too long ago, like earlier this week. They asked the ICE agents in Jubilee, what? About the 11 different kinds of intelligence types. Oh, there you go, sorry. I thought that was true for a little while when I was younger. I also thought that was true for a little while when I was younger, but then I realized how much IQ measures how a person's going to be successful in the future. And I just interacted with people that had high IQ and I realized, oh god, they see the world in a much different way. I have a mid-size IQ. I have the same IQ as this woman. But I am not retarded. So what is her excuse? I think that IQ is definitely a way to tell when a person's going to be successful or not. Unless something terrible happens in their life, right? That doesn't let them achieve anything. And aside from that, you could tell when you met a person with high IQ, you could tell that They just see opportunities everywhere and immediately are able to take a hold of them and change things. It's very impressive whenever you meet somebody that is super intelligent, and it's humbling. Yeah, pretty much. I think especially if you're in a classroom with people that you've grown up with, and at some point they start doing those IQ tests, you kind of realize, oh, that makes sense, because this girl is very smart, is very intelligent, she's very quick at problem solving, she's very quick at doing things, she kind of, I don't know, is already has managed to get into college way before everybody else. And all that, you know? Or how they all kind of converge most of the time. About EQ, I'm guessing. The anti-racist crowd of people are less open-minded the most of the time. Yes, it's never been proven wrong that the people that are cataloged as racist the most have the most diverse group of friends. Like, there's always a Hispanic guy, there's always a black guy, there's always a white guy, there's always... They are super, super mixed because they manage to recognize that stereotypes are something to laugh about, that are funny, you know. There's a video with the ICE agents that happened too long ago. A black ICE agent asked one of them if they were a man or a woman because it was really confusing. A video from the street. Anyways, they got offended and started yelling the N-word at the ICE agent. There were two different instances? What? Wasn't there also another one that died, or am I mistaken? Wasn't there a guy, a white dude, going against an ICE agent that was black, and he called him the N-word and he got shot at some point? Or was that, am I mixing cases? Yes! There's been quite a few instances, yes! Oh no. Oh no. How they all kind of converge most of the time. I mean, the lady who died, even the left didn't mourn her because she was white. That was so sad. I thought that was so sad when they decided to say that she didn't deserve being honored for dying for a cause just because she was white. I thought that was crazy. I think that's how you can tell which group fucking hates you because of your skin color and which one doesn't. I also saw a bunch of black people saying that you can't say... There's this phrase that they use with George Floyd a lot, but you can't say it with her because she was white, or you can say it with the white dude that died, or I think he was Jewish, he might have been Jewish, that died because he was white. They consider Jewish people white as well. Which is very strange. That was so funny, and I thought I knew all the slurs for them! Oh my god! There are some slow thinkers that are smart, but they just seem dumber because they are methodical and engaged in that kind of thinking, where you actually take time to understand stuff. I am very slow understanding stuff. Especially when I'm angry. Because I have a bit of ADHD, but I don't think that has to do with my IQ necessarily. There's also a difference between intelligence and wisdom. One without the other leads to you being the smug lady here. Yeah. You know what? She says this bullshit about not discriminating because of the way somebody looks, and she's the first one to say that the military... Sorry, the guy from the Navy is probably the lowest. If she had to go completely against any stereotypes that she has in her brain, I would have probably put the white woman first. Sorry, last. Because of stereotypes, you know, because they say blondes are dumb and everything. Not the guy. I think that she put the guy there because it's the safest thing to do, you know? The safest thing to do in a social scenario, if you have to risk somebody, is always the poor white dude. It's never the rest of the cast, no matter their color or their age. It's always the poor white dude who gets blamed for everything. There have been quite a few instances, yes. Another one. Oh my god. He didn't get shot for calling anyone the N-word. He got shot because ICE agents and him were struggling and his gun. A model that's infamous for going off from very light shaking went off, making the ICE agent assume he was firing, so they turned fire. Yeah, and I saw people trying to say that the agent was in the wrong. When I don't think that the average person understands how stressful and complicated the situation is when there's guns involved, because the police officer is trained to shoot you as soon as they see a gun, because otherwise their life is threatened, you know. I think it was justified to use weapons in this instance. The gun misfired for the one who had the gun. I think after they took it from him. Oh yeah, also the woman who was crying and apologizing for her white tears. Shameful. Insane. They're white men. The white men... Wait. They are white when it's more convenient. They are not. No, because you're a woman. Women are super stubborn, especially when angry. That might be a little true. I don't think that stereotype is true for every single woman. Might be for Hispanic women specifically. People think that real life situations are turn-based RPG, where you can choose consciously the next action after debating it for 15 minutes. Yeah, you can tell when somebody has never been in an actual IRL confrontation. Wait, the military guy joined the Navy, so he's gay? He's from the Navy. He was never military, just Navy. Everyone discriminates. It's part of cognition. Some people just are bad at it.
Your definition.
I know, I was gonna say, I like my definition.
Yeah.
It combines everything.
Does anyone have any like initial?
You can be honest. Start on that side. Okay. I'm done going first.
I feel like I have a good combination of both, like book smart and street smart. So yeah, I think I have some input on that. There's so many aspects to intelligence. It really goes beyond IQ and EQ. Even those two different factors don't really capture what it really means to be intelligent.
I know I'm not, from...
I was gonna say something. I think this guy is mixed. I think he might be a Hapa.
Yale, I don't have a PhD, but what I lack in those areas, I'm able to still problem solve and use my own skill set, my emotional intelligence as well as my social intelligence.
Besides my education and background, I feel like I have high emotional intelligence, I'm aware of my surroundings.
As a software developer, my problem-solving skills are obviously top-notch, I think I would say. My whole life, I've kind of had to fight to be seen as intelligent. I think I'm so used to having to do that as a woman, to just step up and be like, yep, I deserve to be here. My first job out of college, I was working at a law firm. A gentleman came up to me and said, hi, you don't look like somebody that would work at a law firm. You look like somebody I'd go on spring break with. And I'm like,
Obviously,
Okay, to be fair with her, I think that there's a chance that she was very intelligent and maybe not that popular growing up. And now that she's older, she can afford to be very pretty because she can, waste money on extensions and hair and all that. So I get why people would overestimate her and how she could be, you could assume that she's intelligent. Because she's a little chubby, that's what I would assume. See, I'm being completely stereotypical here. But what I would assume is she was very intelligent, not as attractive in the past, and now that she's very attractive, there's a clash between her reality from the past and now. And that's why she is able to maintain both of them. Because I think that it's rather hard for somebody that is attractive and also super intelligent. She does have a stereotypical nerdy build. Vilma Maxine! Cute. I like this type of chub. It's cute. When he was talking about intelligence, he was probably going beyond problem solving and specific cognitive abilities and more towards something like human consciousness. Don't get me wrong, a marine will kill you 15 different ways before you even realize you're in pain, but don't leave crayons out for them to write out their thoughts because they'll just eat the crayons. Problem solving skills and adapting is more valuable than a made-up degree if you ask me, because it gives you room to be good at many different things. As someone who is both incredibly handsome and a genius. Yes, life is very hard for us. I'm so sorry, Nano Squid. I hope you get. I hope science gets to solve your problem. Gotta uglify you. Smart people are on average more attractive according to stuff like facial symmetry. Interesting. Eating crayons is a classic. I wonder if that also had some influence on people. Do you think that these people know the difference between militaries in the army, in the navy, and in the... what is it called? They fly planes. In English. Airplane flying branch of the military.
Everyone here, I've got the least formal education. I consider myself intelligent. My mental dedication.
Air Force, thank
my
you.
ability to adapt and to problem solve. What I do in the Marine Corps, I'm a seaborne defense specialist. So I think that by virtue of what I do, that already requires some amount of intelligence.
Sorry, quick question. So do you think that only certain people can do your job, or do you think anyone can do your job?
Only certain people. You have to take the ASVAB before you go into the military. That's not really how much you know, but how well you can learn information. And I got a 94 on that. It's not an amount of how much you study, how much you know. You're not going to really get better at learning.
I'm sorry, but he's autistic. You can tell he's intelligent if he got into the military and he's also autistic. I'm being serious. I'm judging. I am judging. I'm so judgy. God damn it. Help me. Get out of my brain. Get out of my brain. If you're smart, lazy, or a coward, you would join the Air Force. Don't get me wrong. Good job. Still useful. Space Force forever. But all the promotions are test-based like school. Real. It just makes sense. I think he's slightly autistic and he's very smart.
Does that make sense?
I strongly disagree with you don't get better at learning. The idea that you can get better at learning is a pretty big signifier of intelligence. I'm very much dyslexic. I have ADHD and I'm on the autism spectrum. Dyslexia means that there's a big gap in comprehension. So I was scoring 99th percentile in certain areas and like 3rd percentile in others. I'll never be able to learn another language. I took Spanish for 12 years and I can still basically only order a burrito.
So I have a question. Why did you go to Yale and why did you go to Harvard?
My parents are immigrants from China, and I'm a first-generation immigrant as well.
Oh, number
and a
one.
college student as well. My family always really stressed the importance of formal education. For me, that was something that I really strived for.
I wasn't planning to go to college. That wasn't like a goal of mine. My parents were like, well, you should apply to at least one college. And I was like, I'll never get in here. And then I went to Yale.
Why don't you guys rank each other from 1 to 6, including yourself, and give reasons?
I think that universities are under the specific university you go to, unless it's something like fucking MIT, is a little bit like too unimportant. Because I think that, for example, Yale lets a lot of people in because of stuff like sob stories or because of a certain quota that they have. Because I've heard that happens with Yale, Harvard, Oxford, and all of those sub-universities. They need to fill a quota for races, and they need to fill a quota for different things like that. Right? Those are scam schools, and they're very expensive. I actually applied to join the Space Force when it was first being founded, but they wouldn't take me to the medication I take. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. What kind of medication do you take? Yes, you need to give them a lot of money, absolutely, or get a beca. Get there for free, but have to always get good grades, right? Intelligence is the ability to learn. You don't learn to become intelligent. You learn to become knowledgeable. The ability to improve your intelligence is pretty much only possible when you're a child, which is the main purpose of school. It doesn't work that way. The biggest problem here is that they make the classic mistake of assuming education equals more intelligent. I'm pretty sure that if I, with my 111 IQ, wanted to have gone to fucking Harvard, I would have managed to do it. Cause I'm sorry, I have this stereotype of them having insane fucking quota. Only 111? Yeah. 555. Come on now. I have a small IQ. I don't mind it. Wait, do I have 111? Do I have a little bit more? When I mentioned it, Chad, I don't remember. I think it was 111. Yeah, it's low. It's like barely 3 digits. 100 is the average. Yippee! Sometimes, how much is Fed's IQ? I would like to know that. I'm 159 last I did. 159? What the fuck? Double digits. I'm not particularly smart. I would have guessed you would have been way higher than any of these people. At least that's what you come off as. I don't believe in IQ tests. 159 is crazy! Okay, chat, I need all of you to tell me your IQs. I cannot be the only one with 111. Come on, come on. Make me happy. I hate this show so much. They're very annoying. I've had a lot of fun watching the ones where they pop the balloon in order to tell if like it's like a guy and then there's a row of women and they pop their balloon if they don't want to date the guy because he says something about his life. It's very silly. You should watch one of them. 5 billion! 135 when I did an online test as a kid. It could be higher now. I think that as a kid, it only goes higher or a little lower when you are super, super old. Last time I checked, 120. My man! I was tested 126. And I hope the test was bullshit because if I'm 126, that means also most of society is way less than that. Shit! Freedomano, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Vivi's a midwit. I'm fine being a Haru Urara in this world full of silly umas. I'm lovely the way I am. And as I have explained before, one of the parents being low IQ and then the other one being high IQ makes the child more prone to be high IQ. Alright? I read that test once and that gave me hope. It filled me full of hopium. So I gotta get myself somebody that is super, super smart. I need a Sheldon Cooper in my life. No way I am 159 because if I am a genius, society is fucked. I don't think I ever took it. They usually take them in high school. Profound mental intelligence. Negative. I got 165 when I was a real little kid, but I have a feeling that that was a fluke because any online test I've done said closer to 130 to 140. 165? That is fucking insane. I don't know if I believe it. Yeah, I think it would probably... Okay, let's say like the average Joblin's IQ is 140. Those tests used just for people to say they are smarter than Einstein always make me cringe. It is usually different. I was so retarded and scored so low, they made me take the test thrice just to make sure I wasn't pretending. I never knew the results, couldn't quite care. Okay, I bet that you have the highest IQ out of all of the Joblins fed. I'm not fucking joking. Or you have to be between the highest IQs amongst the Joblins. I'm not joking, but I 100%. I would Uma raise bet that it's definitely the case. They never specified. I just assumed it was that. You need to. Maybe it was super high. To double check an IQ test, see if you can score a super low score on purpose. 140, Vivi, please. It's okay, Ashes. It's okay. It just means that you're gonna marry a super smart woman with 180 IQ in the future. He was pretending. My dad is 130. Nice. Freddy's double digits, Vivi. Vivi, come on. It's me. I'm probably around basketball American levels. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Are you a big dude, right? It fits your character. What the fuck? Even the IQ scores are inflated in SMH. Maybe 140 is for Harvard professors. I don't trust Harvard professors being intelligent. Especially when they're producing papers like white men should out of themselves and why it is correct. You know? Well, 210 at 6'4" is normal. It is like 40 más 40, 80 y tantos? That is normal. That is actually a sin. You watch good VTubers instead of I Show Speed and Rakai, so I refuse to believe you. He's a big dude. Yeah, I don't think it's average. I mean, it's normal for his height. His weight is normal for his height. But he's the agent who became a Fed for the free food based. Okay, I don't believe you, Fed. I think that you should make an IQ test. I bet that you're at least 140. I don't give a shit if people tell me that Harvard professor is 140, baby. The Harvard professor believes the most insane thing that you can never phantom to believe. I don't either. For you, I am 111. I'm definitely 111. I've tested it several times. I'm between 111 and 112. Just like this woman. This woman could go to fucking PhD and she's 111. The sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I have tried, but without pressure, I get bored of the test and close the tab. Alright, you gotta do it. Come on, Fed. You gotta go to your local IQ test place and you gotta measure it. The smart people can delude themselves better than stupid people because they can use their own mind to build up contrived nonsense that seems smart for them. You might have ADHD, yes, not below IQ, but rather ADHD.
Why you want to do what you're doing?
I gotta go 1.
No.
Oh yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would rank you as a 6, not meaning that you're not intelligent. I also think that I don't.
But because I think you're retarded.
Period.
No, full stop.
I'd probably do 1, 2.
Why do they always underestimate the military, guys? Seriously. I had the complete bias unless they're policemen. If they're policemen, they tend to be dumb and also hit their wives. But when it comes to military people, I tend to not assume that they're dumb. I tend to assume that they're smart. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? All these people undervalue the military because they live cushy, peaceful lives. Because they're virtue signaling leftoids. Simple as. They're usually average, but disciplined people look smarter.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry.
I'm the villain this episode.
Does anyone think they're like either end of the spectrum?
I'd say I'm 1, if nothing else, because I know what I'm about and I'm sure of that.
Wait, you guys have to rank everyone too. That is so unfair. No.
I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to look past the education part. Going to college, I think you learn a lot, if nothing else emotionally, but I still think you're smart.
I am fucked. IQ isn't a measure of how smart you are. It just measures pattern recognition, which is why those of us with autism tend to rate higher than scale. I don't think so. Depends on the branch. If it's Air Force or Navy, they're at least above average Marines. However, you missed my whole explanation earlier. Interesting. I'm saddened by hoping close to war. Good. They're usually average. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily the case. I think IQ does represent how intelligent you are. Most problem-solving situations. Of course, there could be variability, but if it's a statistical test Wouldn't that get rid of any type of variables that are not useful? My bad, chat moves fast. I think it's a reasonable proxy to intelligence, measuring processing speed. Yes. Just explaining. At least a part of your intelligence, but I think it's somewhat solid. Yeah, you can tell a lot from a person if they have high IQ. Absolutely. Harvard professors are not dumb, baby. They are evil. Big difference. Reading right now, average NASA scientist IQ is 130 to 140. What is the approximate IQ of the Harvard professors? Is it really 140? Every single one of them? Are you telling me that they're fucking psychology, they're fucking social? No, average. Average, she's an average NASA scientist. What is the average of a Harvard professor? Sorry, Yale, Harvard, whatever. There might be some 120 or even 10, 11 dudes there. Maybe it depends. Some are also dumb. The quotas have done their damage. That's what I was saying exactly. Give him a gun and suddenly he's the most important person in the room. Besides IQ and intelligence and whatnot, mean absolutely nothing. That's true.
Thank you.
Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, immigrant parents, first generation going to college, humble, modest. 2, me, I don't know, PhD, cancer biology scientist. I work in a biotech company. We make COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. And then 6. It has nothing to do with your background. I don't think you really have the highest EQ out of all of us. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself. He was ranking intelligence based on his point of view and not taking in other people's point of views and compiling results, but really just came down to his body language, his demeanor, the way he carried himself, the way he acted towards the group.
I would put 1.
EQ is what is EQ? EQ, not IQ. EQ. High IQ is actually strongly correlated with better lifetime success. Yes, absolutely. I also saw those statistics. Correlation does not adequate causation. I am also on team EQ is scope. What is EQ? What the fuck is EQ? Emotional qualification. Emotional quotient. Basically, some laws are made something to counter IQ. That is 100% fucking bullshit. Somebody that is emotional cannot be intelligent.
3.
Or at least their intelligence will be seemed impaired by their emotion.
6. So the reason why I put you at number 1 is I think you have the highest not only EQ score out of everybody, but the way you present yourself, as well as being a PhD student, I think is just like a huge thing. And I put myself 6 because I feel like I might be the weakest in terms of actual IQ score. Hopefully I can make it up as everything else. So I did put myself as least intelligent. However, if it can't be me, I definitely think Tyler, unfortunately, his way of thinking is linear. And I think intelligence is only...
He has blush on. Given that IQ is also highly heritable, it's more likely than not. EQ is essentially emotional intelligence. Humble, down-to-earth guy despite fashion sense. I think he's just gay. What's wrong with this dude's boys? I think he's just gay. Is it the IQ that leads to greater quality of life or status of the parents? Who benefits first, the smart parents or the smart kid? Who existed first, the chicken or the egg?
Almost like a sphere. It's a picture, and right now he's only coloring with one color, then with the rainbow.
So who got the most number 1s? Thank you. Move down.
Who got the most?
Sean A was
like
pretty
you.
up there too.
I feel like you were definitely 3, right?
Yeah, I'm between Harvard and Yale.
I think that I sort of expected to be ranked a little bit lower. At first glance and first interaction with me, it's hard to tell how intelligent I am. It's hard to tell how intelligent anybody is.
Is anyone upset with where they're standing?
I think it makes sense that I'm down here. Like the guy who graduated from high school and then joined the military, he probably wouldn't be like high up on there. If I was in their shoes, I definitely would have also ranked myself among the lowest.
I do feel like there might be a prejudice acting in terms of ranking you.
Okay, I was thinking that.
But I agree with the ranking. I think you probably are.
But I don't give a fuck because I'm not being racist because you're Chinese. Because I can't be racist. The biggest streamers have the IQ of a chicken and live in insane luxury that I know.
Out of all of us, I would feel weird placing you there and not acknowledging the dynamics in which we did so. Hearing that I had to take an IQ test was definitely hard to hear. Quantifying things for me in that realm is really hard because it gives you something really solid. Even if you don't buy into IQ tests, it still gives you a number at the end of the day, which is something you have to grapple with.
I literally thought when you said to open the computer, we're going to look at social media, that I didn't think an IQ test would be part of it.
It was kind of expected. Being ranked by intelligence, you know, an IQ test. It's not that far out the realm of possibility.
So number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean. And number 6 is Maria.
Okay, let's see. 112, Maria. 123, the colorful guy. 131, Pulse, the guy in the Navy, and the girl that went to jail. And then 133, the software engineer. 136, I forgot if he was also a software engineer, but I think so, maybe, perhaps. They were not wrong about the guy.
I think an IQ test tests something.
Oh god.
Intelligence. It's definitely testing something. IQ tests are now known to be flawed and based on incorrect sample sizes. I have really severe dyslexia. There's 2 questions on that test that I automatically basically can't answer.
I'm sure if you studied for an IQ test, you would do a lot better. IQ tests are just one aspect or one way.
He's lying.
It's really on a spectrum. What constitutes somebody as intelligent?
Before this,
he's so intelligent that he knows exactly what to say socially, so he doesn't get it now. It's socially. You can bullshit them, but not me. I grew around Asian people. I know when they're fucking lying. Wonder who could have guessed. Really makes you have a big tongue.
IQ test is that they existed, and the I stands for intelligence. I've never looked into IQ tests before. Coming here today, them saying the EQ, that was the first time I've ever heard that term in my life.
Coming back to intelligence, it's not just your IQ, it's your EQ, it's your common sense, it's street smarts. Sure, it is some type of metric similar to an SAT.
Sure, I got put in the lowest one, but I'm not retarded. I obviously have some type of value over all of these people because I make tests for COVID. I don't know. She was too smug about it, so I feel happy that she was the one with the least IQ. Base sitter on EQ. Right, but the statement was that IQ has a correlation with a better overall life. I argue that doesn't necessarily mean the IQ led to the better life, and it can't be proven necessarily because IQ is genetic, as it has been stated. Did you prove street smarts didn't help you? This woman looks like she'll think piercing makes her look smart.
SAT and ACT score is a metric for getting into college, but there's more to that person than that test.
I'm actually excited I wasn't last because I thought I was going to be last, not going to lie. I think an IQ test is a good indicator to see how people handle pressure, but I think that's easier to make sense in our heads that, oh, you're smart and you're not smart.
Definitely don't think
I might be underestimated how much American... If you think America is fucked, you should go to the third world countries and be able to tell between IQs and everything. I wonder if... There's no way to determine that, right? If a person born in a third world country has a certain amount of IQ and they were born in America at some point, do you think that their IQ would be higher? Because I do think so. Maybe there's some quality that is not measurable yet, but there is definitely influence from the place where you are born. Maybe malnutrition. Maybe perhaps malnutrition would have a big impact on it. Look at her face! I'm not going to retype the study here. I would refer you to read it. The statistics make sense both in terms of methods and sample size. I do think that IQ correlates. There's a correlation between IQ and how successful somebody is in life. Now, is it always the case? No, there's definitely exceptions. Could there be other measures, other ways to measure how successful somebody can be in their lives? Yes. Let's study biology chat. Probably nutrition and stress and stuff? Depends on how they are raised, environment and good parents, in my opinion. Oh no! What does my IQ say about my parents and my nutrition? I have learned to appreciate the fact that I am a little bit dumb. I think that it's gonna be alright, Chad. It's gonna be okay. I am a cute woman and that should be enough. If you're better at problem solving, you're more likely to correctly solve the problem of how to get money. Of course. And how quick you can do it as well, because you don't lose opportunities. No nutrition. Nutrition has to be extreme conditions for it to affect you. You know what matters more? How much they study in life and how much they actually use their brain. I think you're smarter than you give yourself credit for, boss. Maybe I'm street smart. Maybe I'm emotionally smart. One state offered teachers 10K to raise to come back and teach. Because of the massive number of teachers quitting because of bad treatment from kids and schools. I know studies. I've done that. I read them, did this on them, and one thing I will tell you, and everyone here, is that people place too much importance on them. The data means nothing to me, to the individual, after all. And that's what matters. We are people and not numbers. Of course, we're talking about populations right now, but if we're talking case-to-case basis, it can be definitely different. My family has been rather successful. Even though I think that we tend to have a slightly above average IQ. Yeah. Maybe my grandpa has an above average IQ. Yeah. Pretty much it. Remember, baby, I was like 2 credits away from masters. All I did was research papers. Holy shit, Scooty. Well. This is a little insane when I am. Let's continue. Let me just freshen up a little bit. Above average is more than 100 in the USA. How much is above average in the USA? I need more water. I've drunk like... I have bottles of 1 liter of water, and I've drunk like 3 of them only during the stream. Drink more water! Shit. Okay, I have more water, but I need a cup. Let me get this to the kitchen. I'll BRB, okay? Wait for me in the quietness of the stream. Actually, I'm gonna put some music for you, so you don't get bored. You're like a child. I need to jiggle keys in front of you. BRB. Good night, Red Chimera. I'm here. I'm just having some chips. Done. Now some water. Simulator true, shades of architects confirmed. You don't like chewing? I think that's a complete different person. Completely different type of person. Let me see. Hello, Aaron Kelly. Bye bye, you punk. Have a good one. Sorry, Red Chimera. Red Chimera. Ah, sorry. Have a good one. Have a good night. Good night. Simulator chose she hates us. Wanna hear that? That's gross. Ounder is literally defined as the average intelligence level. Alright, so that's the average. Good to know. I am above average, barely. But yeah. My conclusions of that is basically, I'm pretty sure that Fed has a higher IQ than he thinks. And it does determine how successful somebody is going to be. It's the closest determinator to how successful somebody is going to be, in my opinion. Maybe today, when it came to discussing communism and intelligence, I think you are smart, and I enjoy talking with you about it. Thank you. I think it's more... that comes off as a second nature because of what my parents have taught me. Because I barely... I mean, I've done some research when I was in college regarding that type of topics. But I don't think it's been intrinsical, like, calculating stuff. I've seen some people that calculate stuff, which is way more insane and accurate than what I do is basically chop my heart and my opinion out. Lucky. Yeah, I was very lucky regarding that. Trauma and Draw that were very... either conservative or straight up communist haters. Of course it had its downsides. But I think it definitely had more positive stuff rather than downsides. That and whether you are immoral and willing to work with the bad guys that run everything. Good parents are underestimated by most, I think. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely need two parents that guide you through their different perspectives in life that only gender and life experience can give them. I think we're gonna finish this part together. I can't really scream that much because my mom's trying to sleep and I don't want to bother her. But we can watch this together before too late to continue. There we go.
He abuses his power. No? A generalization like that. The hatred, the mistrust to the people who are supposed to protect you and enforce law and order. Moral relativity. The Angelo Buono process lasted 2 years in Los Angeles. And yet there are still some lawyers who say, look, he's a nice character, as a matter of fact. There was some witness who said, also a criminal, who said, well, he's a nice guy. I asked him one day to burn a house of my enemy, and he wouldn't do it. Nice fella. Erosion. A slow substitution of basic moral principles, whereby a criminal is not a criminal, actually. He's a defendant, even if his guilt is proven. there is still a doubt to kill or not to kill, to be...
It's kind of like the strategies that lawyers use, you know? Because they have to reduce the sentence, right? They have to make this guy seem as positive as possible. They gotta give them all the benefits of the doubt. So, in that sense, in a way, if you appeal it to emotion, you can justify pretty much everything. And that is wrong. So if you want a smart or above average child, is that technical eugenics? Some people argue that, but then choosing your partner is already eugenics, because you're kind of picking what kind of attributes they're gonna have in the future. I don't think eugenics is bad. That sounds horrifying for people that automatically assume it's something tied to mustache manism. But it isn't necessarily the case, right? Because there's positive things like to stop certain diseases that are carried along the way on a lineage. Like I would pay if they could delete. If the family that comes after me would choose to not have the same problem that my mom has, I would let them do it in a heartbeat. Like I would, if there was a way to get rid of that, or make sure that the next generation doesn't have that, I definitely choose that. Because I know how bad it is to live with that condition. Sounds bad, but you're not wrong. It doesn't mean that the people from the past should have not existed, right? It doesn't mean that I would go to the person that has some type of problem and tell them you shouldn't have existed. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean it like that. You know, it means we're like, in the future, I hope that nobody has to suffer a similar fucking fate. God. Oh no. I think it's bad when it's used by people in power to change the demographic of the country that they're managing, you know. I think that's when it's wrong. But I don't think it's wrong when you as an individual decide to do that for the next generation. Because it's your child at the very end of the day. And you have the chance to help them out. Part of the issue of eugenics tends to mean murder or sterilization of innocent people. Yeah. But I think that it doesn't necessarily mean that. It's not entirely tied to that. I think that's how you define the word. But not entirely tied to it being murder or sterilization. Right? Because you could consider that what Ashes just said. It's a word that is just tied to a lot of terrible definitions. Maybe if someone falls in love with a retarded woman, wouldn't he be allowed to? He should be allowed to. But there's a way for their children to not be retarded. Cause there would be a way to make sure that the child is not like that. IVF could be seen as eugenics light. Would it be theirs then, genetically and under God? I guess that's a rather philosophical question. If you chose, like, for example, if you're having a baby from a tube test, does that mean that God chose that baby? I would say so, right? I would say so. I would say that God let him be alive in that very moment. I would say not. Really? I would say that yes, because it wasn't his intention for that baby to be born. There's a plot in Legends of Galactic Heroes anime, and one of the characters hates a chunk of the government that he was almost aborted because the laws made it illegal to have children with disabilities. He was born blind, so they gave him augmentations. It shouldn't be illegal. It should be something that each single person chooses. Must Ujima keep the breeze clean, maybe? I have 111 IQ. You think I can do that? Would it be a lineage of mentally deficient lower 100 people? I cannot apply that to myself. Okay, I wouldn't want them to do that with sub-IQ individuals. I heard of the intentions and immediately thought Deus Ex. You're a woman. Men don't care if their wife is retarded. Para cada rato su descosido. If I am retarded, I would like my husband to be smart. And if I was smart, I would like my husband to be retarded. I was gonna make a point about retarded. Oh god. Alright.
Or not to be. Thou shalt not kill. Yes. But this line may not necessarily be applicable to a murderer. Thou shalt not murder. That should be the presumption, not that thou shalt not kill.
Right. Russian defector Arkady Shbichenko. How many Russian defectors were there? A lot. I need to ask the boss if his family has any funny stories. Funny KGB stories that we can talk about on the stream someday. I still want to give him an interview where we sit him down and we start questioning him about his life. Women are the midwits of the genders. Genders too? Not incorrect though. So I would like people to not suffer or suffer the least possible. You know? I think I've talked about my opinions on unborn babies. I think most of the times it should be illegal. Especially if it's a matter of them being completely responsible. But it's another fucking bag of different things. They do mostly run by feeling, not logic. Sadly, this is why a racist wife is a must. Something like, women are the N-words of the world. What the fuck? It's not correct if we are being specific to mental retardation, but the feelings over logic thing is what I believe. Wasn't better it be the Midler who just dropped a hard R when talking about a woman? There is no fucking way he said that. Okay. I guess. I don't know. She is a woman? Oh my god, she's so based. She's so based. She's so based. She's so based. When it's a woman that has a wrong opinion about women, I give it more value. She played a red-haired witch and sister in Hocus Pocus. Oh my god, Winifred. I bet you've seen her. That's so fucking funny. Just imagine the witch from Hocus Pocus saying a hard R when referring towards women. Okay, so I think that my conclusion to this stream is the following. Communism bad, capitalism good. Socialism can be and communism can be applied in... They can apply it on their own, like, volition. Like, if communists want to make their own little compound that only solely functions on communism and socialism, they can do that. But stay the fuck away from their general government or public spending, alright? Third, IQ is a determinator of how successful a person is. Now, you can live a happy life without having a high IQ. Like, to this very day, you can pretty much live a happy life without having high IQ. And I hope that in the future we can get rid of all of the terrible things that make a person suffer, like illnesses that can be inheritable. So yeah, that is my conclusion for today. We didn't manage to play the game that I wanted to play because I am a yappy. I'm the yapster, maxter. Being a retard is comfy. No one ever expects anything from you. Yes, but I don't think you're a retard. I think that you underestimate yourself. You're too humble, motherfucker. I wish I was dumb. I would be a lot more happy. Or worse. No game. I'm sorry, that's awesome. I'll be here next time. Well, as it was stated, we need to define what a happy life is. Just a happy life. Let me see. It's fun to be a little stupid sometimes. I think I am happy even though I have a low IQ. So I think that if you have a low IQ, you should also be able to be happy, chat. Well, if you have an IQ, you should also be able to be happy. But yeah. Keep yourselves reasonable. Thankfully, alcohol can make you temporarily retarded. Yeah, I wonder how many IQ points you can drop because of drinking alcohol. Happiness is to crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women. That no longer works. That was something that maybe we wished for in the era of the hunter-gathering. Dumb enough to do dumb shit, smart enough to know how dumb I am. That gives me hope that somehow our consciousness is closer to God than we think. I think that the only reason why I'm capable of telling how retarded I am, how primitive my human body is because of the spirit that I have that is holy. You know what I mean? I see it in that way. It doesn't matter if I am retarded, because I'll go back to God one day. Ignorance is bliss. It doesn't mean that you should stay ignorant forever. Should. Even if you're retarded, you have a duty with society to get as smart as possible. Viva Cristo Rey! I'll hail Jesus Christ. Also Amazon? I believe in social capitalism. Sometimes it might work. Some things might work. But yeah, that was my little summary of today's session, chat. I hope you had a good time. I am dying, as you can probably tell because of my voice. Speaking of retards, did you see what Blizzard did to Overwatch now? Didn't they introduce 5 characters? One is Hispanic woman. 2 is dominatrix black woman. 3 is gay ass looking Kimbo hero. And 4th was a cat. They dropped a 2 from Overwatch and reverted back to 6v6. Oh my god. I hope Winston chims the fuck out and eats the cat. Have a good sleep and enjoy the clip. Thank you. Basically, the sequel thing was a waste of time. The whole thing, yes. Yeah, I did see that. So stupid. I hope... If only they would have made a movie instead of wasting their resources on stupid stuff. So many stupid parties, so much on BlizzCon, so much shit invested in other things instead of the actual game. I hate them. Thank god I dropped Overwatch a long ago. Me too. I dropped it. I didn't even play Overwatch 2. Ever. I will win. Night night, baby. Night night. Take care, everybody. I didn't either. Good. It was a waste of time. Alright, everyone. The bot's gonna be up. I'm not ashamed of what I just said. Usually when I when I private bots is because I don't really have a plan for a stream rather than what I say. So I think I'm gonna leave it be. This bot is actually divided into different parts because of the internet problems. I wanna leave them both together on the Twitch. I really wanna go back to regular scheduling, so that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. I'm gonna upload the schedule tomorrow. Sorry, I really needed to confirm a collaboration that we're gonna have this week. I didn't even drop it because they changed the message, but because they clearly had no idea what they were fucking doing. Imagine they made a character for one season and Winston goes apeshit and actually just kills them and they just get removed. That would be funny. That would be like something nobody else expected and would hook up people. You're being honest and it's not malicious stuff. Absolutely, but there's definitely people that can take you out of context. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do a big sleepy. I'm not gonna raid anybody. Just gonna go straight ahead and go a little sleepy. No, actually, wait. Ami is live. I only trust my gen mates whenever it comes to raids. This late. And this silly. From such a silly stream. There we go. Is he streaming over on YouTube as well? I think she is. Yes. Just playing Resident Evil. Alright, everybody, have a great time. The Yap streams are fun, baby. Don't ever feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry. It's alright. Thank you guys so much for being here today, and I appreciate it a lot that you listen to all of my yapping. And managed to hang out, even though my internet fucking died in the middle. Perish and good night! Good night! Do your IQ test, motherfucker. Bye bye, Scully. Bye bye. Ted. Bye bye, Ashes. Bye bye, Mumber. Bye bye, 99D9. Bye bye, Scoot. Bye bye, that's awesome. Bye bye. What else is here? Bye bye, Sirbas. Good night. Have a great one. Bye bye. Good night. Thank you for the chat. Bye bye, Aaron Kelly. Bye bye. Bye bye, Dread. And bye bye, Nano Squid. Bye bye. Bye. I'm so sleepy. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.